All right, we do have a question from TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
This is from My Social Chain, who says, interestingly enough,
I saw
what
it.
do you think about social media being on chain? How much do you know about this?
Um, so the conversation about this always ends when I ask people who's going to pay for it.
Yeah,
How are you going to fund it?
right.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be funded by user? Because blockchain isn't free,
Oh, no,
right?
no. Think about the energy required
Yes.
for blockchain to occur.
Hmm.
So just so everybody understands, okay, on chain means blockchain. Okay, what's blockchain? Blockchain is it's just for a very easy way of describing it. Think of it like a ledger. It's a ledger of information that's stored. It stores every transaction or everything that's ever occurred within the chain. Okay, I'm not going into further detail than that, although I could. I'm not going to. The problem with blockchain technology is it requires a massive, massive, massive amount of
Yes.
power and data storage because
Hmm.
initially when there's only 2 or 3 transactions, well, yeah, that'll fit on, a thumb drive. 3,000 transactions, sure, that'll still fit on a thumb drive. But once you start getting into 2-3 million, 2-3 billion, right? I mean, think about how many trillions and quadrillions of transactions have occurred in the Bitcoin blockchain, right?
Yep.
You're not storing it on a thumb drive. You're not storing it on a hard drive. You are storing it on petabytes of data, if not larger, right? Which requires a massive, massive amount of energy to run. And there's no centralized location where there's a server farm somewhere running Bitcoin. What happens is it's distributed over the
Yes.
world by all the people who want to be involved in Bitcoin,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's what the miners are.
Correct.
There's the people that are mining Bitcoin. So, in order to have an ongoing blockchain, you have to you have to what do I you have
Oh.
to run these like miners or some type of computer hardware
Hmm.
constantly
Yes.
all day every day, and it can never go down because if it does you'll lose the entire chain.
Correct. So
So
I like the idea of so
oh,
it's
this is cool.
so
I'm watching your agent go,
I told it I wanted to go to a Cowboys game
and
and
it
that I
slapped you in the face, and then what?
and that I'm in Philadelphia and that I needed to find reasonably priced tickets
Yeah.
and find me flights to and from the game as
Okay.
well as a hotel.
All right.
So
It's actually doing that
it
now.
is literally browsing the internet
That is
looking
cool.
for tickets to the Cowboys game and then it'll move on to finding me flights and hotel.
Very cool.
And this can literally just sit there in the background and muddle.
That's neat. I like it.
I
It'll find you the best ones. So
hopefully we'll see. But
anyway, so that's the issue with being on chain. You're
yes.
absolutely 100% right.
Yes.
Great idea. Who's going to pay for it?
Hmm.
Right? Now, let's assume we can get a few million people to offer up their computers
Yep.
to keep the chain going, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. What would you say is the next is? I know what mine is. What would you say is the
So
next issue?
the well, funding is really the primary issue,
Yeah, but
right? Like
let's assume
so
that like
let's
just like
assume we
Bitcoin,
have the
millions of
funding.
people are
Okay.
willing to use their power and
So
resources to
we
keep this
can
going.
moderation, for example. Who does the moderation on the
Does it
platform?
need to be moderated?
I to be
Who
legal
moderates Bitcoin?
to be legal in a lot of countries, then yes, if it's a social media platform, like
Ah,
in
but
the
there's a difference. There's a difference here.
hmm
Facebook has to be legal because Facebook is a company,
hmm
right? This is this would not be a company. This would be a distributed network. This would be decentralized. There's no entity to go after. Just like Bitcoin.
so
You
they
can't who are you going after?
so they could only go after the end user.
Pretty much.
So no
And
one
good luck finding them if they're anonymous on a decentralized platform.
so no one would ultimately be responsible for anything that happens there.
That is the whole point of decentralization. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now,
So how would you do basic changes? Like what do I see when I go on there?
I don't know. Right? That could be it could be a situation where you are creating your own. What you see might be different than what I see.
Right.
Right?
Who controls that?
I control my views. You control your views. So the
Okay.
look and feel, the functionality, etc. Maybe there's like when you first create it, you have the ability to change the way you see things, the way your algorithm functions, the data that it turns for you. What are you saying? Wow, that's so cool.
So I'm
It's
curious.
it's finding some good answers for you.
I'm,
So anyway, so yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see how that would
but
work. The first problem outside of funding that I see
mm-hmm,
is one of the things that people don't realize is every transaction inside of these decentralized networks
mm-hmm,
has to be viewable. People can see them,
right.
right? So there's no high. I mean, I guess it could be encrypted, I suppose, but that encryption won't last long. You'll be able to see every piece of communication between people because so let's take the Bitcoin blockchain for example. You can if you have to actually when you are running a server or when you have your own wallet, you can see every single transaction that ever occurred within Bitcoin. That's why
Right.
it takes 10 hours to download
The ledger.
the ledger,
Right.
because you can see every transaction that ever occurred. What you can't see is what it was paid for,
Mm-hmm,
what who owns it. You can just see that this address paid this address this much,
right.
or this address earned this much from mining, or something like that. But in a social media platform, I would have to imagine, now again, I haven't thought this through, but I would have to imagine you'd be able to see at minimum conversational transactions between accounts.
Right.
You don't know who owns those accounts. I guess you could find a way to encrypt it, but that would be you know you have to do point to point encryption
Mm-hmm.
where your encryption is different than somebody else's encryption. Because
But
if
wouldn't
you
that be more like a messenger system then?
well, it would have to be, because otherwise, if there's a central encryption for the entire network, well, that'll get broken tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will figure that out right away,
Right.
right? I mean, you remember DSys back in the early 2000s?
No.
You don't know about DSys? What happened with the
No.
kid? I think it was from Sweden. Oh, this is great. So the DVD industry
Yeah.
spent $1 billion.
Oh,
I think it was a
is this?
billion dollars
Mm-hmm.
on coming up with a cryptography, a crypt, an algorithm that would completely forbid anyone from playing their DVDs unless they were on an it was a legitimate device and a legitimate DVD, and it was called, well, I forget what the algorithm was called, but they were like, no one's ever going to break this, it's infallible, and they were high on their horses. And I believe it was 2 weeks later a 14
I was
year
gonna
old
say
kid
it's
from
always.
Sweden came up with a program called DSys. I think it was
Hmm.
DECS CSS or something like that, and completely destroyed their algorithm.
Yep.
14 days.
Oh
This
yeah.
kid may have even been sooner than that. And it was great. It was huge because for about 2 weeks you couldn't decrypt DVDs, and then DSys came out and you could decrypt
Crypto.
DVDs
Right.
and put them online, and that's when all these
Hmm.
torrent sites and everything started
Oh yeah.
going nuts. It's like stop fighting it. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to create an encryption that's an unbreakable, especially when with quantum computing coming out, doing what it's
And
doing.
I also think that's because this conversation about decentralizing social media has been like I've been hearing about it for
Oh
years now.
yeah.
And my question is always like, what's the point? Like, what do you
Well,
want? Like,
it makes it. I'm guessing, right, because I haven't really thought about
mm-hmm,
this, but I'm guessing what it does is it keeps opinions
mm-hmm,
open, meaning
mm-hmm,
that no one can tell you what you can and can't say,
correct.
right?
I get that.
So you have the freedom of speech,
Yes,
which also means you have the freedom to lie and make things up.
correct.
So you get into that cycle where you don't know what's real and what isn't.
Well, we're already
We're
there.
already there, but is that a social media company's job to determine what's real and what isn't? I don't think so. I don't think they should.
No, I don't think they should either, right? Um, but it's just very interesting to me is you use social media because they do something really well and you like what it does,
Yeah.
right? Like TikTok does their algorithm really well.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of entertaining stuff and not a lot of stuff you don't like seeing, right? Facebook's getting better at it. Instagram's getting better at it. Like they all work on the same premise now that it's no longer connection based, it's
Right.
interest based, right? So once again, if it was a social network, let's compare it to X, okay? Where it's basically
Yeah.
just people putting up chat
Yeah,
threads.
sure.
How long do you think it would take for you to even find people on there that you were mildly to moderately interested in actually seeing their stuff pop up?
Well, I would just use my ChatGPT agent and say, "Hey, go find
Find me.
people on this new
Right.
decentralized platform that I'm interested in." But no, seriously, it would take time, obviously,
Okay.
right? But I guess you could say the same thing for any new social media platform that comes out.
Yeah. What yeah, I don't know. I understand it. But once again, things very rarely keep advancing at a rapid rate unless there's money involved.
Oh, sure.
Right? Like that's the thing. So even if someone starts it, I don't know that it's even going to last. Right? Assuming you can fund it.
Think of it like this. Think of it like, again, haven't thought this through.
Mm-hmm.
It's a social media platform where you have to actually download software onto your computer,
Mm-hmm.
and then your computer is now part of the platform. So
Yes.
your computer, as long as it's up and running, is helping the social media platform continue to exist. And again, if you have millions of people doing it, well, that solves that problem.
If you found this clip interesting, make sure to go listen to the full podcast. There's lots more content there.